Okay, we're gonna go ahead and open the meeting. We'll start with a roll call.
Alexander Graham, present.
David Gavigan?
Tom Bouchard,
Bob Goslin.
Jonathan Barnett.
Dave Gleason.
Dave Gleason. Okay, we have a full board tonight, and our first thing on the agenda is public hearing, 7:02, and it's 7:02. So what we'd like to do, Alex, is read the notice.
Okay. The Kingston Planning Board will hold a public hearing October 7th, 2024 at 7:02 PM at the Kingston Townhouse, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, Massachusetts, in room 200 on the petition of Jack Breen, AKA John Breen, for approval of a special permit per the Town of Kingston zoning bylaw, section 5.2, table of uses, and per section 7.8, accessory housing units, to allow for an accessory dwelling unit at property owned by the petitioner located at 195 Summer Street, and as shown on the designated Kingston Assessor's Map 13, Lot 18. A copy of the application and plans are available for inspection at the Town Clerk's Office, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, during regular hours. Any person interested in desiring to comment on these items should appear at the time and place designated above. The complete text and any pertinent maps are on file and available for inspection at the Town Clerk's Office, room 102, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston.
Thank you, Alex. So we'll go ahead and open the hearing. And the way this will work for the public is we will go over the application. If we have to ask questions of Jack Green, we will do so. And once we feel like we have our questions answered on the application and how the building is laid out and any questions about that, then we'll open it up to the public, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we have, this is an ADU, and we have all the legwork from Paul right in front of us. He did all the calculations. So one of the things that a lot of people are not sure of, because I wasn't either, is that as we remember, we voted, I'm talking because Val, she can't talk too much tonight. She's been under the weather, her voice is a little gone. So, as you remember at town meeting, we voted on some changes to the ADU. It could be a separate build-in, all these different changes we made. Well, that has never been approved by the Attorney General to this date still. They're so far behind with all kinds of other things that they haven't even gotten to it yet. So we had a discussion today, me and Val and Paul Armstrong, and we decided that we could go by the old one because the new one is not yet approved. So we have this ADU, we have another one coming in soon, and maybe at our next meeting.
Yeah, our next one.
So the best thing we can do and the best thing we can offer is to go by the old bylaw. We can't use the new one because it still hasn't been approved, which I didn't realize that today. Because usually it happens in a matter of, a month or two.
Usually by August.
In Norwell, detached.
Well, what, did they change their rules too?
Yeah.
Well, they might have approved theirs, but you better
Well,
check.
they have to approve it per town?
Yes,
Oh,
but that doesn't mean they have, because they've been tied up with, what was it they were tied up with?
The MBTA case with the SJC, this starts today.
The MBTA zoning,
Yeah, against Milton.
yeah. A waste of time and a waste of brain power.
so anyway.
But anyway, I don't want to get going on that one. According to Paul, this applies. Jack, did you want to get up and introduce yourself?
Sure.
Give us your address and just tell us briefly what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm Jack Brain, 195 Summer Street here. That is the north side of town. It's Route 53, up by the old Root Bricks Nursery, the bog. I built the property in 1988. In 1989, I added a physical therapy office. So for some 30-plus years, I had a physical therapy office adjacent, attached, same level, same, to my home, which I've lived in since '88. My office closed in and around COVID, and I have this space. And in talking with the various boards, I think I've met all the requirements that would allow me to come before the board and get your approval for this accessory dwelling. I have provided you with some plans that are existing in future, but without getting too much into it, I can answer any questions you'd like after you've discussed it.
Okay. So is the architecture on the new section consistent with the old? The siding and all that type of thing? The architecture, the siding and all that, is that all consistent
Yeah,
throughout?
the architect, who's a licensed architect, happens to be a family member, but there is only going to be, if you can picture what a medical office was, it had separate rooms,
Yeah,
and essentially I'm just going to take out some non-bearing walls and open the place up, open the space up so that it's a little more free-flowing. So there's no exterior changes to
No
the building.
addition.
No exterior changes, just taking down walls and refurbishing the inside.
questions, anybody?
Just trying to make sure I know what's going on.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Parking?
Oh, ample parking. I think the building inspector went through all of that, the ratios of the floor space, the parking and all. I mean, I had at some point for years, I had 3 or 4 cars in there for physical therapy patients. There were 3 treatment rooms, and on a good day it was full. Now they're empty.
Okay. Questions? I like that question you usually ask. Do you want to ask it? Have you paid your taxes?
I'm sure he has.
Yes,
Taxes are paid.
Taxes
Yeah.
are paid.
That's one of you're famous for that one.
Well, my sister was the tax collector, so,
Questions? Anybody have questions?
It meets all the criteria, I don't have any.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Straightforward.
water's happy, sewer's happy, health is happy,
Board of Health, no issues.
right?
Everybody's chimed in, they're all satisfied. Is there anybody from the public who wants to speak to this? Anybody remotely? Anybody in the audience? Nobody? Okay. Okay. Well, that was short and sweet, so what we'll need to do, if no one has any issues, Val's satisfied, Paul's satisfied, fire, police, and all that, whoever else, sewer, what we'll have to do is, we will need a vote. I gotta find my agenda here.
First, you'd close the public
We need a
hearing.
vote to close the public hearing. First one, I think it is.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to,
I'll second that.
it's been seconded. Moved by Bob, seconded by Dave. Dave Gavigan, that is. And no further discussion? Here are none. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's 5-0-0. Okay. Now, next, motion on the approval of the special permit as presented.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Special permit as presented, no changes. No further discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's 500. And that is done.
You can pick it up after the 20-day appeal period goes by. After the 20-day appeal period goes by, you can pick up the submit to town clerk's office.
Okay, Jack?
Thank you.
See ya.
See, Jack?
What's that one? That's 197 Summer Street. We're all done with all of that. Okay, 703 appointment. There's an A&R, Novel Landing, which is Sylvia Point Estates.
You can see that the neighbor there, if you look at the entrance, there's an old driveway that
Could
was,
you start over? I missed that.
I'm sorry, yeah, this is the Nava Landing entrance.
Yep.
And the neighbor, where there's a house existing on the left-hand side, if you're standing in the street looking at Nava Landing, has a driveway and a shed that sort of encroach on the existing road layout. So
Yeah.
by swapping the land out, it cleans up the ownership issues before that last lot, which is under construction, is to be conveyed. So they wanted to get this A&R plan through to just clean up the ownership
So
there.
he's getting this and giving up this?
Yes.
He's
So
giving
it's
up the strip here, and he's getting this in return?
Right.
Okay.
So it's pretty clean, pretty straightforward.
How about, it looks like one of the sheds is over the property line?
It won't be anymore.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. What, so this is the existing lot? And-
Right.
And this is the new one?
The dotted line is the existing.
Okay, I see. All right, I see. Got it.
Now, whatever happened with the driveway that goes out back?
So there's still some discussion happening back there.
And there was a problem with
The
the
drainage,
retention.
yeah. He has told us he would get the retention basin cleaned up this fall, and he's been doing some work out there to sort of figure out water table or something along those lines, and how much he needs to clean up in terms of the silt that's already in there. So we have our inspection engineer, Pat Brennan, out there to do. As soon as we hear from Carl that he's ready to get that fixed, we'll come out and take a look. But we're holding the bond in lieu of this last lot here and against getting that drainage fixed.
Mhm. And the drainage was it too small as well?
They didn't build it to the size that it was spec'd, but they have
Oh, that's
adequate.
what it was.
Yeah, they have adequate room. They just never, they just sort of put it in there and started building. And then when we went out and met and looked at it, it's not big enough. And in the meantime, there's been enough rain that it's silted in some, and we have wetland plants growing in there, which isn't good. So he's got to kind of clean all that out, make sure it's sandy and it's perking properly.
Mhm.
So, and then the edges themselves needed a little cleaning up.
I mean, the guy, from my perspective, has been really good to work with, though.
Yeah,
He does what he says he's gonna do and everything.
yeah, so the
They're
last,
not- They're not all like that.
right.
Well, meets the requirements. This is an A&R, so our motion will be a motion to endorse.
Make a motion to endorse the A&R for, what is it? Let's see, is this
Mr. Duesberg.
Novel Landing, lot 37-1
here? Novel Landing, lot 37-1,
on map 72.
map 72.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, it's 500. Next on our list is under discussions about Captain Jones Landing. We have decided we're going to move that to October 28th, so we will not be discussing that tonight. They are currently making some changes on feathering those berms, and they have a few little things still left to do. And so that's going to happen on October 28th. That will not happen tonight. Town planner report, we have a report on fall town meeting articles.
Yeah, just a reminder, and I sent to you a separate email with a copy of the town warrant and the 2 planning board articles. One is the need to retire the residential phasing, and that's because it's become, it's an out-of-date thing, and towns that still have it on the books like us are no longer eligible for a lot of grants at the state level. So if we are able to remove this, council says it had questionable enforceability anyway. So they're in favor of us taking it off the books as well. So we've made a motion to retire that section of the bylaw. And then MBTA zoning. We haven't looked at this for a while, so I printed out the final version of that was approved at the end of last week, and going back and forth on the final cleanup with town council.
Anybody lose keys?
No.
What kind of car is it?
They look familiar, but,
That was in the mailroom.
oh, I don't know.
I don't know who she was, but she was like copying of the things and doing that.
Oh, okay. If anyone wants to go to the planning department website, on the town website, if you go, it's under our government, and on the left are the boards and committees, and on the right are the departments. If you click on the planning department and scroll down a little bit on the webpage, there's an interview with Keith Hickey. That's a special town administrator report. There's a copy of the proposed zoning bylaw, and there's all kinds of slides and other TV shows that are easy to watch on YouTube. I think one is 20 minutes and one is 25 minutes. We kind of go over the whole scenario for anybody who's watching. Our public hearing is going to be on the 28th of October. And one thing I want to mention in that is that, you know, we have it overlaying a portion of the mall. The shape of the proposed overlay district is very similar to the mall redevelopment zoning overlay district that was previously adopted. So the town will feel familiar with what we're proposing with this McMod, which is what we're calling it. The idea is that we're just zoning for the possibility of residential development. The apartment building that's up there is at a much higher density than the density that would be proposed under this bylaw. And we don't have to build it, we just have to zone for it in order to comply with the state regulations. People will note, and I want to make sure that I highlight this so that it's not missed, that the building height for the mall overlay district is 55 feet. And I don't know if people want to discuss that more, but the intent there is it's got 4 livable stories only, and the maximum height of 55 feet, meaning that they could have a mixed use on the first floor where they have higher ceilings to allow for that mixed use of up to, say, 15 feet, so that you'd have more of a commercial feel on that first floor. There may be some people that want to have a discussion about that at our public hearing, and I just don't want people to miss that. Other than that, there's some flexibility in there for the board to waive setbacks, and all has to be done in the best interest of site design, and it will be up to the board during site plan review to look at that, and also to waive frontage. And the main thing there is to target somebody who might be trying to combine properties to get a good design in there, and to give this board the flexibility to look at those things and work with the developer in the future if this does actually come to fruition. So with that, are there any questions on those two? Those are the planning board's proposals.
What happens if, does that whole Milton thing going to affect us at all? They're going to, that the Supreme Court in Massachusetts is hearing that now.
The Milton decision will not affect any other town.
No? Well, it may with somebody that's still dragging their feet waiting to find out what happened, but we've already committed.
No, we have to vote. If we don't vote it in favor of it, what happens is we lose eligibility for millions of dollars worth of grants.
Well, I think that's what they're fighting, and, I mean, we're going along with it.
We are doing everything we can, just like Milton did. It's up to town meeting whether we do it or not.
Oh, Milton, their planning board, everybody did what
They
they
brought
had
it
to
to
do.
town
It was
meeting.
town meeting that turned it down?
Yep.
Oh,
It's up to town meeting. So we're just presenting the best possible solution for our community to town meeting, and it's town meeting's decision.
gotcha.
The town meeting is on November 19th, is a Tuesday night. This is a 51% vote because the state law enables that zoning change at 51% rather than the standard 70%. So it's a simple majority vote of town meeting. But
It's funny because they can change the number, the formula of the vote as well.
Yeah.
Good Lord, that's awful.
Did we ever get our ladder truck when they increased the height?
Yes.
Yes, I think it's massive.
I can't think of anything else unless there's any questions besides what I've covered. We've gone over it a number of times and I'll go over it again at the hearing. Okay.
Okay.
And then I wanted to mention that the DPW and planning worked really closely together to come up with a school zone that's going before the Board of Selectmen tomorrow night. But just want to let you know what your planner's up to in their spare time. So we're looking at putting a school zone in front of the middle and high schools. And we did the map and did the research and wrote the justification for that. And there's been meetings with the school department, police chief, and the town administrator, among others, to come up with a plan, and this is what we've come up with. So just want to keep you in the loop on that. And then, last but not least, I know we just talked about accessory dwelling units. I haven't put a lot up on the website, but I want people to be aware that the state adopted another new zoning law that goes into effect on February, I think it's the 7th. And we'll be introducing a paragraph to our zoning ADU that we already adopted that the Attorney General hasn't reviewed yet. But the idea here is that the state has made accessory dwelling units a by right use. And most of the time I can say that if you're in a single family dwelling and you're in an area zoned for that it's probably by right for you. And that will not require review by this board. But if you don't actually fit the state's definitions, and the law, of course, is full of vague information, and there's hundreds of legal questions that have already come up, we'll try to work with everyone that comes in with questions about that. But there is yet another law out there on accessory dwelling units.
That's coming in February from what we understand.
Yeah, and
Again, towns are not allowed to choose what their town looks like anymore. The state has taken over our communities. And I say that because one of the things that has made the ADUs work in this town and work so well without any problems is that it's owner occupied. The state is going to impose that it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And it's going to be like Val said, as of right, for what, 800 square feet and less?
I think that's roughly what it is, and anything more, you can have more than one, but when you get to one by right, and then the second one we think is a special permit
Yeah.
after that. So we'll use our existing bylaw for that. And the towns are not allowed to impose very much regulation on them at all.
Even setbacks might be not, we might not be able to
Yeah.
enforce.
But we're gonna try to assert that we're gonna follow all the work that we did in the setbacks that we just adopted. And probably leave it at that, because probably anything else would be kicked out by the Attorney General. But we'll keep this in place so that if you're in a 380D or other districts, I think we also said transitional commercial, or town center, I mean, where you might have a house, but it's not in a single-family zoning district, it would still be a special permit through the process we just followed here with Mr. Breen. Complicated.
So it'll be by right, which means they just go to the building department and file plans and get it done. I just wonder how many of these it's gonna turn into straight two families, you know?
We don't expect very many. There hasn't been, this has already been done in surrounding states.
Yeah.
So it's expensive and difficult to do, no matter where you are. And it'll, you know, everyone, you have to have utilities. Like we said, Mr. Breen has upgraded his sewer, his septic system and everything. So it's not a simple turn the key and everything's gonna change kind of process.
Once it's in place, it's just really hard to police the fact that that it's owner occupied.
It won't be owner occupied anymore.
It won't be, also.
That's what Mr. Bouchard was saying. It's no longer gonna be
Okay.
owner occupied.
Okay.
Which is, I think, terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then it's just like I said, it's.
I mean, the reason it works is because if I have an ADU on my property and I'm living there, I'm gonna make sure that it works.
Now, the town of Carver, it's in their bylaws, up to 900 square feet, and it doesn't have to go before the planning board. It's by right, as long as it's owner occupied. And I'm doing it right now with a new house, and I had to get the document done that's going on record saying is that all gonna change?
Yes, if you wait until February 7th,
It's already done, so.
well, if it's in place before February 7th, it sticks and stays that it has to be owner occupied. If in the future somebody needs to come through the town's special permit for their ADU, it'll be owner occupied. But if it's a by right state ADU, which I think is up to 900 square feet, is by right, it won't have to be owner occupied.
It's gonna be a bit of a cluster for a while.
Exactly. Well said. That's all I have.
It could remind us of what we used to have when we had all these little cottages on a piece of property that turned into our problem properties in this town. May Ave
Yep.
that was a problem property. The two different ones on Main Street, one of them still has issues. The other one used to have a lot of issues, now has been remodeled. But there was, and that hill up there where Joe Colombo used to live, you know, those condos?
Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill, where his old condo was, off of Crescent Street, those condos. That was all cabins up there as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if somebody had a piece of property, they could, you know, be putting them in, I guess.
That'd be like a compound for the
Yeah.
Bouchard house.
Yeah, I could have all my kids in one property.
Kids and grandkids and all kinds of stuff going on, one little piece of land.
Yeah, all he needs a banjo.
That's right, I hear the banjo playing in the background.
All right. All right, Jean is on, I see she's on there. Jean, did you want to speak?
No, Tom, thank you very much. I just wanted to see how this went with the ADU.
Okay. What you wanted to, did I miss something?
What? I didn't hear.
What did you say, Jean?
She said she wanted to see how it went with the ADU.
No, I was just seeing how we were going to be handling ADU applications under
Okay.
the current bylaw.
Okay. Sounds great. It sounds like we're gonna be using our old bylaw, and then the new bylaw that we voted in. If that goes in before the one in February, we'll go to that one, and then when one goes in February, we'll go to that one. Take your pick. Okay. Nobody else online? Let's see what we got here. We went over the new changes. All right, meeting minutes. I believe there was a full board for this set of minutes.
These are too new for us to approve.
You're being caught up,
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 12th, 2024.
Second.
Oh, yeah, Alex wasn't here, but David can vote on it. David, you get to vote. No, you don't, because it's only for special permits. Just teasing. Just teasing.
This is gonna be my shining moment.
All right, we have a motion, and it's been seconded?
Yeah.
Yes. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, abstained, and we have one abstaining. So it is 3-0-1. Okay.
I have a question for the planning board. I haven't gotten the sense that there's a lot of questions or concerns yet about the MBTA zoning. I was thinking whether or not we should have an open house before the public hearing, but I don't know. I mean,
I think it might be a good idea,
okay,
just so like
like 4 to 6 p.m. or 3 to
because
6.
you know, the biggest fear I have is if people show up to town meeting not educated about it, and they vote against it, because it
Yeah.
sounds like a bad plan.
Yeah.
And the way what you did was pretty genius, and it's going to work for us
Sorry,
without.
you want to have an open house before, when?
Before the public hearing, I might want to advertise. I'm thinking like,
What if you did it like right before the meeting or whatever? Like
Yeah.
at 6?
Yeah.
Or 5?
that's what I was thinking, like, if I hung out here before the meeting and had, had stuff out for people if they wanted to come early and ask questions throughout the day, we could do that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways we could do it, but I think if people, because if people might just look at this thing and say, this is ridiculous, and they'd be right.
So looking at the warrant, do you think this is the thing that will probably take up the most amount of discussion time?
It's the first article.
It is the first article, I think, yep.
It's the only reason we were having a town meeting this fall. There's a couple of other articles, but this is very
Yeah.
important for the town.
I just hope people show up.
Yeah,
Sometimes things get legs on social media, like, the plowing of the
Yeah.
streets.
Win it? Yeah, oh, yeah, I know.
A little bit of,
Yeah, and, right, they find out about it too late, and then they
they
complain.
don't have the right information, and suddenly it's,
yeah, I know we've done
why are they doing
outreach
this to us?
all year. We've had the task force meetings, we've had newspaper coverage, we've had radio coverage, we've had the stuff up on our website.
Yeah.
We've discussed it at these meetings repeatedly, gone to the selectmen several times. I'm not sure what more I could do. We did the YouTube meeting. It's running on YouTube now with me and Keith going through everything again. And we'll probably do another one of those and link that to the website also. But, I mean, there's only so much one person can do.
So, at the next meeting, are we having a public hearing about that?
Yes,
So that wouldn't be enough?
Well, we don't want people, if I'm understanding correctly, that being their first time to, like, at the public hearing, now they're asking all these questions and all these things, so if we can provide them with a little bit of information.
Oh, I don't, it's fine with me, I just
Yeah.
was curious, because then it goes to town meeting.
right. The other thing that hasn't happened yet is we're waiting on the state to tell us whether what we have will be what we think it is. We've worked with a consultant, we've had the density reviewed by the state, we've had the thing previewed by the state, we filed it 90 days ago, and they have until Monday to get back to us with comments. What I understand is there are another 100 towns looking for the same thing, and that there's probably no chance that they'll get back to us before town meeting votes. I'm not counting on it, because they're so far behind. Of the 27 towns that have already voted it in, I think only 3 have heard back from the state that they are in compliance.
Now, is Milton the only town? Something happened in Braintree too, right? They wanted to do something at the mall, and that got shut down?
I believe there are there's like a handful of towns that voted it down this spring that are coming back in the fall.
Yeah.
There are I think, very small, 2 or 3 that are gonna say no,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah. I don't think we're gonna have a problem. I think it's, if people go there with a reasonable mind and look at this, they're gonna realize it's a reasonable plan. But, there's always gonna be people that are just, it's gonna be a hard no.
Yeah, it's
No matter
just-
what it is.
Well, I just want to encourage people to find out more about it, and so I was just asking about the open house as one way to do that.
Yeah.
And then encourage people, again, to go to the website and click on the YouTube show. It's an easy watch. It's 20, 25 minutes of your time, and answers all the questions about how we came up with this, and what it looks like, and how it works.
And when is fall town meeting?
November 19th is a Tuesday night.
The week before Thanksgiving.
We're not going to.
What night is it? Monday night?
Tuesday night. We're going to meet on the 28th, and that's going to be our last meeting until town
In
meeting.
the woods somewhere?
Yeah, so I'm looking.
Improbable.
I mean, I have an extra date in there to continue the hearing if we need to, but we
No,
don't have,
I'm talking about town meeting.
I know, and I'm just saying that if there's enough discussion and debate at the 28th, we have room to continue it for one more meeting before the planning board votes. I wanted to leave enough time in there to adapt. But-
Well, we certainly can't, we really have to work to make sure that it doesn't get voted down. I mean, I don't like any of it, but at the same time, people have to realize if this gets voted down, who knows what grants could be taken away. They could go, it's not that specific right now, and they can change it at any time as well.
Yeah, like right now, we're sitting on a over $1 million MVP grant that we're hoping to use for CR on some property that we'd have to get back,
Yeah.
for example.
And eventually they might go after your school grants as well. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just huge. So we'll have to get the word out.
Like you've been doing this whole time, and we appreciate all the work that you've done up to this point.
There was a lot to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of work.
The video is extremely helpful because on its surface, I think everyone in town would be instant.
No.
What is this?
Yeah, because
Right, we're strong-armed into a boat, but you have the ammunition on the other side and how much a yes vote protects us.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to know.
And a yes vote does not necessarily mean it's ever going to be built.
Right.
People have to realize that too.
All the land that we're talking about is already developed and functioning just fine without change.
Right.
That's the important part.
We have the water moratorium, so that will, the state is aware of that. That puts a pause on things, and
Yeah.
Well, it's
But
going to
we
be
don't-
interesting when, these things start happening with ADUs and all these other things that the state is you can tell what the state's after right now. They want housing, and they want it everywhere. And they don't care what you want, they don't care what your town looks like, what your town atmosphere is like, they don't care if it's historic, they don't care about nothing. They want housing. So, that being said, we're kind of stuck with a lot of this. And I don't like it, but we do have to vote this in. And it's gonna work great for a lot of people who wanna have their parents, you know, in their yard, or their kids. Like, I already know someone that's gonna do it for their kids. Well, they're gonna give their kids the house, and they're gonna move into the small house. So, perfect.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn?
To adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now adjourn.